So today we're going to talk about the rational consumer. We're going to introduce this idea of utility or satisfaction. We're going to introduce the idea of a consumption bundle and a budget constraint. So our rational consumer is always in search of a way to maximize their utility, and we're going to model their behavior. It's just going to be the behavior of a consumer choice. So our utility we're going to measure in this made-up unit of utils. All right, so it sounds a little funny, but that's what we're going to be working with. A consumption bundle is going to show us the collection of all goods and services an individual can consume. So you can think about this as our PPF for people. All right, and then our utility function is going to model that utility that the person gets from consuming those different consumption bundles. Our budget constraint is going to be the amount of money we can spend. So amount of spendable money. All right, we're going to assume that we're spending that full amount when we make our models. So I'm going to zoom in a bit, and then we'll talk about the next part. So we're going to construct utility functions. So the way to find marginal utility is just like when we find marginal cost and marginal benefit, to do the difference of the total utilities. So we got that going on. And then once we have that, we'll notice our maximum utility is at a quantity of 8 clams. Right. So let's talk about what's going on here. We've got our marginal utility curve, which is constructed using our marginal utility and the quantities. So marginal utility on the x-axis and marginal utility on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis. You'll notice that we have a decreasing marginal utility, which just means that we get a lot more pleasure out of consuming one more at the beginning than we do at the end. So let's switch gears. All right, this optimal consumption of 8 clams we're going to be talking about in terms of the budget constraint graph in just a moment. All right, so we're going to look at Cal as an example here, and then talk a little bit about what you'll be doing with the practice problem that you're going to be working on. So Cal has $200 to spend, so that's the maximum amount he can spend, all right, on cell phones or sunglasses. So each cell phone costs $100, so we're not going to use this information right away. But if he has $200, he can buy a max of 2 cells, right? And then sunglasses cost $50, so with $200, he can buy a maximum of 4 sunglasses. We're going to use that in just a moment. So we're going to start by completing the marginal utility table below. So marginal utility of a cell phone. So we've got when a cell phone increases from 0 to 1, he's getting a utility of 400. Well, I'm just going to put an X in these ones. So 400, and his marginal utility per dollar, so 400 divided by the amount it costs, 100, is 4. And then we've got increase from 400 to 700, so it'd be 300 divided by the amount it costs, and that's 3. Then we've got increase from 0 to 1 sunglass is 600. Then we've got 600 divided by the cost of 50, which is going to be 30. And then we've got 100, because it increases by 100, divided by 50 is 2. feel like I made a mistake here. Let me look at this for a second. This is not 30, this is 12. All right, so let's use those figures on our graphs below. So the graphs are technically on the next page, but I'm going to do them up here so I can have them next to the tables for you. So I've got my phones, and he can consume a maximum of 2 phones or 4 sunglasses based on his income. So this is a budget constraint. So go ahead and plot that. And, all right. So then we need to graph his utility. I apologize, I made a mistake here. We need to have the other point, which is his 4 sunglasses. So 4 sunglasses, we're going to say gives him utility of 600, marginal utility negative 100. Oh, per unit, so divided by 2. Because it's an increase of 2, so it'd be negative 300. 300, yikes. And then divide that by 4, you've got 700, 300, negative 400. Divided by 4 is negative 100. Wait, I already did that. Hold on, need to think. Marginal utility per sunglass would be minus 400. Yikes, making mistakes left and right here. Forgive me. So we've got negative 100 is the marginal utility, but we have to do it per sunglass, so we divide by 4. So that would be negative 25. Then per dollar would be negative 25 divided by 50, or negative 1/2. All right. So this is going to be our total utility graph. So if we're looking at phones, consume 1 and 2. We need our total utility. So this would be for talking about phones, it would be 4, 2, and 0 for sunglasses. So four, 2, and 0. So if we're consuming 4, we have a utility of total utility of 600. So we'll plot that. And then if we're consuming 1 sunglass and 1 phone and 2 sunglasses, we've got our utility of 400 and 700 together, so 1100. And then 2 sunglasses and no, I mean 2 phones and no sunglasses is 700, so we come over. And our total utility is here. All right, so we're gonna consume at the last spot where we have a marginal utility that's greater than or equal to 0. So the last spot where this graph is increasing would be here. So we're gonna buy one phone and 2 sunglasses. So I'm gonna back up and explain what's going on here one more time. So in the left-hand graph, we have the budget constraint, which shows us the combinations we can buy based on the amount of money we have. So if we buy 4 sunglasses, we can't buy any phones because we're spending all our money. If we buy 1 phone, we can buy 2 sunglasses, and that would be spending all our money. And if we buy 2 phones, we can buy no sunglasses because the 2 phones cost all our money. Then this total utility graph we get by looking at those combinations. So if we have 0 phones and 4 sunglasses, that would be right here, the 600. If we have 1 phone and 2 sunglasses, 1 phone's utility is 400, and 2 sunglasses is 700. Taken together is 1100. And then if we have no sunglasses and 2 phones, we're looking right here, and that's the 700. We're going to consume at the last spot. Our utility is increasing, so greater than or equal to 0, and that would be at 1. So we've got consumption bundle of 1 phone and 2 sunglasses. So what I want you to do today is try this out. All right. Note that this should say gem. All right. We're assuming that the quantity here is telling us the hours. So we've got from 0 to 100, we've got 100 as our utility, and we're consuming for 1 hour, so that's 100. If I were to do the next one, we go up by 80. All right, and then our marginal utility per hour we're watching for 2 hours, so that would be 40. So that's what you're going down by. The next one over here, you would divide by 3, right? Because you got 3 hours of consumption. So you're going to complete this table, and then you're going to make a budget constraint graph. And then you're going to draw a utility graph. All right. And then for the second part, you are talking about these situations and how they relate to utility. So those are the 2 pages you're going to do today.